buddy. You missed a super sweet intro that I hit you up with, and unfortunately, it is what it is. But we're finally live now, so welcome back, everybody. The One's Ready podcast. This is your, as we said, we're going to get on. We're going to talk about Q&A. We're going to talk about the Zulu course. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of other stuff. I can't wait. It's going to be exciting. What questions you guys have? That's going to be the first one. We already talked about, if you guys haven't seen the episode, we've already talked about everything that the Zulu course is going to do. I'm happy to go over all that stuff here. I'm happy to talk about anything that is you want to talk about. We just wanted to get on live, talk to everybody, see how everybody's feeling, see how things are going, make sure that everybody's, having a good day. You know how we do, how it's going there. So here's what we'll start with here. If you guys aren't tracking, man, I don't know what is going on. I don't know if this is a cultural thing or a generational thing or whatever, but to get me to the point where you guys have finally made me, forced me, backed me into a corner, it's actually, number one, say words in defense of the larger organization. I'm not a company man by any regards. I am an independent person that likes to think that I have my own independent life behind me. And the fact that you guys have gotten me to the point, and when I say you guys, I mean all you cones, all you little cone-headed, low experience, young MFs out there. You guys have gotten us to a point here at the One's Ready podcast where we need to do our level best to help you manage your expectations. And the Zulu course is the big thing on everybody's mind. Those guys are starting right now. It started today, Monday, November 3rd. And here's where I want to start with the Zulu course. The reason that Trent and Peaches and I have gotten to this breaking point with you guys is because I think you don't understand enough about these processes to give valuable input. It's not that your input isn't valid, okay? So the memes, the meme pages, cartoons, making fun of stuff, crying on the internet behind your anonymous accounts. Listen, I don't care. I don't care if you guys do that. Like, okay, great. Everybody's gonna play and everybody's gonna have an opinion on something. It doesn't mean your opinion is valid. So when we talk about the Zulu course, and you guys talk about, oh, it's going to be crap and this is stupid and we have to do all these new things, and oh, the Air Force is just doing things like the Army, or this kind of looks like SFAS, or some of these other comments that we've gotten. Guys, yeah, I get it. What's been one of the big, and here's the funny thing about this as I go on this rant to try to cage why it is that you guys are making us so mad here, is because number one, the biggest gripe that every single cone has had for the history of time until they've gotten to this point, to this very point, is that your sister service brothers and sisters constantly clown you because the Air Force is not a serious ground force. We don't have an infantry school. We don't have a school. Like the security forces bros will tell you that they are infantry of the Air Force, and everybody sort of laughs at that and sort of jokes about it. Well, guess what? They do more tactics than our special operators do. The security forces guys, for whatever it is, they can take apart a heavy weapon as a junior E2 in their pipeline. PJs don't do that. Combat controllers don't do that. Not right now. They don't train on weapons until you're at the very end. You have a familiarization on those weapons. Let me tell you, let's compare PJs, because that's what I know about. I was an instructor. I know exactly what the instructions were, or what the courses look like, right? So we'll talk about heavy weapons. We'll talk about just a squad automatic machine gun, the M249, 5.56, gas cooled, belt fed, piston operated machine gun, small machine gun, right? That is the backbone. You should not leave anywhere. You should have a belt fed weapon if you're a small tactics unit, right? PJs typically don't do that. So let's talk about security forces and PJs. When's the first time a security forces guy touches a 249? Right effing away at bullets. And they usually go live with it. They get a FAM on that bad boy pretty much right away. And they go live. At the pararescue schoolhouse, we would shoot blanks. Guys would have a minimum amount of time to put belt-fed blanks into a 249, and you would just line up. You'd get down. You'd shoot your 40 rounds or whatever we gave you. We'd give you a second to let it go cyclic, to feel what it is, and we go through basic procedures, and that was it. You get a FAM on it. You don't shoot it live. So you tell me who's better at tactics. You tell me who's better at weapons. You tell me who's better at just general weapons knowledge. Security forces or pararescuemen? Well, in this instance, it's security forces. Tell me who's better at tactics. Give me a team out of PJU that just went through weapons and tactics. Just went through it. and you give me any rifle squad from the Army 11 Bravo. Give me an E5 sergeant team leader, and then 3 E4s from the Army, and they're going to go force on force with a team of PJs fresh out of the tactics block of PJU. You know who smokes them? The 11 Bravos, right? So that's been the complaint up until now. Up until now is everybody's, oh, chair force, you guys don't do these things. You guys don't have this experience. So now we come up with a course that's going to give you that experience straight out the rip. You just got to make it through assessment selection. We're going to put assessment selection aside right now. There's no formal messaging that's come out that you aren't aware of. We aren't aware of it on the changes to assessment selection. That's still been getting looked at. But for the Zulu course specifically, we came up with a course that we're going to do it in your first inclination here is not only to bitch about it, but it's to put your opinion out on it. It's to put your opinion out and go, oh, well, this is shit. This isn't going to be good. This is dumb. I don't want to do it. And me. And it's so frustrating. And it's frustrating, number one, because we came up with a fix. When I say we, I mean the organization, the larger structure. And there's a lot that goes into that because there's a bunch of different competing commands that have different ideas on what this should look like. I got it. But we came up with a course in order to get you those skills earlier. There, you get to work the rest of your pipeline with those skills, like we talked about in the episode. Once we teach you the skills, once we evaluate you on those skills, bam, we got it. You can go forward. That's what it is. And we got it for you. And your initial reaction here was to make your little memes and complain about it. That's issue number one. Issue number two is that you guys, and I say you guys, meaning everybody in the development program, these cones that are down at JBSA, everybody that's talking about this, everybody's making their little memes, you guys forget that the people that are teaching you, the people that are right now doing their level best to try to make you the best special operator in the world, those are our friends. Now, Peaches, Trent, and I were a little bit older, so a lot of our friends are the shot callers in these communities and typically pretty high up in the career fields. But guys that have been on our troops, guys that have worked at our squadrons, guys that took those orders after the 2-2 at JBLM, when I retired in 24, guys that took orders to go down to those schoolhouses and teach to do their level best, they didn't want the Zulu course. They didn't want to have to plan this thing. They didn't want to have to plan it on the type line. A lot of them resisted because they were like, listen, there are too many things. We don't know about logistics. We don't know about course flow. We don't know about how we're going to have these people, where they're going to sleep, how they're going to get transported from one thing to another. And they were given an impossible task, and against all odds, because they're special operators and they're people that you want to be like, they, with their own sweat, their own blood, their own tears, they actually made a course against all odds in the shortest amount of timeline that some idiot, and I say that with every bit of vitriol that I can, these idiots at 2nd Air Force, at ATC, at HAF, that have no clue what they're talking about. They're not beret wearers. They've never deployed. They've never been on the ground. They've never been on a mission. Some of them are pilots that are C-130 dudes and C-17 guys, and occasionally have a fighter guy in there that may have gotten into combat. These people came up with this ridiculous task to make this thing that's never been made before, and they put it on the backs of E5s and E6s and E7s and E8s. That's what they did. So when you talk bad about a course that you haven't been to, with instructors that are our friends, you can understand why we get passionate, not emotional. Passionate, not emotional. I'm not emotional over this. I don't care about it personally. It doesn't hurt me as a person. It doesn't take away anything from this beret over my shoulder here. It doesn't make my career any less to see these things happen. What it does is it shows that you have a remarkable misunderstanding, and you guys have been ideologically captured by the time and the culture in which you exist. I get it. It's way cooler to make your little meme, special retard airman, whoever's running that page. I don't care. It doesn't matter who's running the page. I hope your page blows up and you monetize. I hope you can scale negativity like all the other meme pages that don't exist now. Where's dank memes for Dragon Teens? Where are some of these other big names in the mill meme wars from 2020? Where are they? Their accounts are closed. They're not popular. They don't have any followers. They got no motion because you can't scale negativity. That's a great example of why I want you guys to manage those expectations, because you're just being negative. You're just being contrarian. Being contrarian is the lowest hanging fruit that you can possibly do, because all you're doing is, no, Oh, there's a new course. We think it's going to be great. No, I have to get my hair cut. No, they're going to make me wear a uniform a different way. They're going to make me do push-ups. I don't want to be on team with anybody like that. I don't want to be on team with anybody that supports that. I don't want to be on team with anybody that talks like that. Because when stuff gets really hard, when stuff gets really dangerous, you're going to be the first one that withers and wilts. It's victim versus victor mentality. And it makes me upset. That does make me emotionally invested in making sure that you guys have somebody that's telling you the truth. We are here to tell you the truth. Open, honest, vulnerable, transparent, available. That's what we do here at One's Ready. If I'm being open, honest, and transparent with you, let me tell you, this little victimhood mentality of talking crap about a course that you haven't been to with instructors that you say you want to be like, but then in the same breath, you make little cartoons making fun of those instructors and saying that the thing that they tried to produce for you, the student, to keep these career fields alive and keep Air Force Special Operations relevant, not now, but 3 decades from now in the future, you're telling all of those instructors that they're shit. And I will not stand for it. Those instructors are not allowed to go on the internet and look you in the face and tell you that you're being a little baby back bitch. But I am, because that's what I do. I refuse. I'm the type of person where if you come into a room with me and there's a friend of mine and you talk shit about that friend, I will walk directly over to you and I'll go, hey, you may not like that guy, but that guy's my friend and he's not here. And you won't talk about him like that. I will not let you bemoan the instructors of the Air Force Special Warfare Training Wing. You can say you don't like it. You can say you don't agree with how the messaging came out. Okay, 20-year-old in the dev program who knows nothing, who can't tell me what Afghanistan smells like, who can't tell me what it's like to lose a patient or deploy or leave your family or miss your kid's first day of school or miss their first steps or have your kid cry to you sobbing on FaceTime in Iraq. How dare you? Where do you think that you are the main character, you little narcissistic little pussies, that you get to talk about special operators who have bled for this country and made you a course to give you everything that you've ever wanted? You make your little memes. I won't stand for it. Absolutely. It's a hard line with me. I won't let you cross it. Those are my friends. Those are professionals. Those are combat veterans. Those are people that have served in the most tumultuous time from GWAT up until now has been the most tumultuous time in America's history. And that includes the revolution and the Civil War, bro. Because now we have a whole host of other problems and America really is at stake. That's why we're so passionate, not emotional about this one. I get emotional when I see a group of people that constantly tell me about how hard it is that they'll try. I got a DM today. I got an email today. I'll do anything I can. I know I might not make it. I'll do anything I can. That same person in 6 months is going to be in a dev program like, man, I wanted to be a PJ, but like I did some research and like they just aren't as hard as like combat controllers. Like they just like I would know. Like the episode that we did with the Air Force #1 Special Warfare candidate. I don't know who that guy was, but you guys sound like him. You guys sound exactly like, you know why we brought that guy on? We brought that guy on because he sounds exactly like all of you. All of you. If you listen to that episode, you're looking in a mirror. That entire episode was crafted from the inputs of all of you. That special warfare candidate represents you. I bet the special warfare candidate that we brought on, the best ever, I bet he's running Special Retard Airman. Admin reveal. There you go. Bet you didn't know you should do it. What'd you Peaches, he hit me up. So One's Ready in the chat, Peaches. He hit me up the other day and he was like, you know what I was going to do is I was going to make this reel and I was going to play the scene from The Town where they walk into the guy's apartment that were throwing beer bottles at the girlfriend. He's like, hey, what'd you do to get my brother so cranked up there? There goes college soccer. I've seen your face. Hilarious. Hilarious. That's why we get so upset over this, guys. These are our friends. You guys you've seen nothing of the backside. You see the internet. To quote DaBaby, you know who you see on IG, you don't know me. And then he says a bad word that I'll get canceled for saying. You didn't see any of the background of this. We talked to the career field managers. We talked to the people that made the entire course. We talked to the people that are down there right now, that are jumping through hoops, that are on fire. to try to make this course for you, to make you better. The end state of this is pipeline optimization. Wrap this into the entire thing. You guys looked at the Air Force, and what the Air Force has done is they completely revolutionized the way we assess and select candidates. We completely changed the way, even if you look at the fitness test, we used to run the AFSOC fitness test before we had the OFT. The AFSOC fitness test was good at one thing. It was good at letting your junior lieutenant officer that was a triathlete talk crap about how he beat you on the fitness test. That's what the AFSOC was good for. Had nothing to do with the job at all. Run, calisthenics, pull-ups, and a swim. That's what the AFSOC was. And guys that were 145 pounds soaking wet and rode bikes on the weekends. If you ride a bike, I got to be honest with you. If there's one group of people that I'd want to cancel from all of America, it's bicyclists. If you ride a bike for fitness, I want you to jump into the sun. I don't wish harm on you. I want to tell you that I wish that gravity didn't apply to you for a brief period and you could jump right off the face of the earth and go into the sun like a little rocket if you ride a bike for fitness. But some of these crows, some of these stows, that's what they do. And they would smoke the AFSOC fitness test. We revolutionized the way that we look at fitness tests. Now we're rucking. Now we're swimming in combat equipment. Now we're running and rucking in boots and combat pants. And we're doing agility drills. And we're looking at your power and your speed and your explosiveness and your endurance and your cardiorespiratory fitness. We completely revolutionized the fitness test. Then we looked at how we assessed and selected other candidates. And we looked at other tier 1 operational units, how they did it. We didn't look at the Army or the Navy or the Rangers. We looked at the tier 1 units. We looked at the top of the top. How do you assess and select your people? How do you judge fitness for the tier 1 operators, people that have reached the highest heights of special operations? And we modeled the assessment and selection off of those tier 1 units. We've revolutionized the way that we assess and select people, the way that we look at people's fitness, the way that we judge people's attributes. And then we change the entire pipeline optimization for you. And what do we get out of it? Tears, whining, complaining, griping, funny little cartoons. Ooh, I stepped in shit. You ungrateful, entitled, little immature dorks. You're not ready to go to war. For whoever I am and whatever my career was, I can tell you this. I've been to war. People have shot at me and they tried to kill me. And I've lost friends. So in this context, you can do my favorite thing from Dave Chappelle and you can shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. And for you to level this opinion before you even start the course, no, we're not going to stand for that. That's not what we do here. That's not the standard. People often told me I had a great mentor, one of my favorite mentors in the world, CA. CA used to say that your standard is what you allow in your presence, no matter what you say. Well, I will not allow this in my presence. The Zulu course is going to be what the Zulu course is. The Zulu course is going to be exactly what it is. We're going to figure it out. It's a living, breathing course. This Zulu course that just started today is going to look different than the next Zulu course, and it's going to look different than the Zulu course after that. Do you know why? Because we're constantly going to make it better. Because of the short timeline, because of the way that this fell out. And I have a million opinions on that. I have a million opinions on how we could have done that better. Got it. From messaging to how we planned it to things that we were looking at. Of course, I can AAR that and I can look at it from my experience and go, this was good. This was bad. We shouldn't do this. We should continue this. That's fine. This is going to be a living, breathing course and it's constantly going to change. And you look at that, when I say you, I'm talking directly to you, candidates, people in the development program, people getting in right now, people getting ready to go to MEPS, people training, yada, yada, cross trainees out there. You look at that change and you go, oh, we don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on either. They're a bunch of amateurs. No, those amateurs are your teen sergeants. Those amateurs are going to be the guys that train you and teach you exactly what it's like, how to tell if a bullet is close between it. Does a bullet crack or does it buzz? Because one of those is closer. And you don't know that. The people that are teaching you the Zulu course know that. The people that wrote the Zulu course know that. You don't know that. That's why we get so passionate about this issue. Because they're doing their level best. I don't know what to tell you. They didn't want it. They didn't ask for it. This wasn't a ground up thing. It's not like the instructors at Joint Base San Antonio, Chapman Training Annex got together and go, oh, you know, it'd be great. Let's completely change this. This is what we need. This is what we need going forward. No, they were ordered to do it. And the reasons behind that, again, we can talk about that at length. Like, you want to get me started on why it is that we needed to change stuff and what I think is best for the career field, in my personal opinion, great. That's a whole other conversation. Right now, in the context of time and today, here's the fact of the matter. The larger Air Force told Air Force Special Operations, with input from special operators, that they needed to change their pipeline to get people to the teams in the most efficient way possible, and we need to optimize the pipeline. One of the big outlying problems is that there was no standardization among common food groups in the career fields that are ensconced in Air Force Special Warfare Training Command, PJCCT, Special Reconnaissance, TACP, and their officer counterparts. We don't have a common skills course. We need to baseline common skills. That's the fact of the matter right now. You can accept those facts for what they are, or you cannot, but those are the facts of the matter. That's the true statement. And on November 3rd, as of this morning at 0400 Freedom Time, Texas time, they started that new course. And the entire goal of that course was to make you better, stronger, faster, smarter, more lethal airmen that can provide Air Force specific actions to combatant commanders to take on national mission sets to protect America and our culture and our way of life. And y'all made cartoons about it. That's not what we do here. Absolutely not. For that, I will not abide. And that's why we're so upset about the Zulu Course reaction. That's why we're so upset about seeing these. And granted, a meme page with 45 followers and a couple likes on a couple posts, is it that big of a deal? No. Are ones not ready? The dudes that do ones not ready, are those bad dudes? No, they're not. We've talked to them. But sometimes good dudes do bad things and they need corrected. And it's on the older guys to reach down to them and go, hey, this ain't cool. We're going to have this uncomfortable talk with you, and then we're going to go on. I remember when I was a very, very, very young PJ, I was narcissistic and egotistical and thought I knew more than I did. I was a cross trainee. I needed considerable management. And I look at the guys that gave me that. November are his ops initials. One of the baddest MFs that the Air Force Special Operations community has ever seen. And I can tell you, as a man, he's terrifying. As an operator, he's more terrifying than he is as a man. I will say NN, for everything that he is and everything that he isn't, probably one of the best moral men I've ever met in my entire life. He ended up going on and working at the Tier 1 unit. I'll put it to you like this. I'm a very capable, violent adult male. My dad used to say, here's how you pick your friends. If there's anybody that you would have, like, let's say you're about to go get into a fight and it's a fight for your life. And if you could call one person, who would you call? I'd call NN. That guy sat me down in the middle of Croatia and he jumped. By the way, this wasn't, God, man, I owe this guy a thank you. He sat me down multiple times and told me that I was stupid and that I was messed up and I needed to fix myself. And he taught me about culture and he taught me about accountability and he taught me how to be a better man. And I think he's younger than me, by the way. I think I had kids before he did. I think I was an adult male longer than he has been. I think I've been on this earth longer than he's been. And he literally told me that he wanted me to be a better person. You need that. First comment of the day. Ender Wigan, 402. What's up, buddy? The cadre literally mandated cones to make comic strips. It's a critical part of the pipeline. You're not allowed to be mad about the momentum of the stories as they evolve. Yeah, you're right. And those comic strips, let me give you a little history here, brother. Those comic strips are meant to be posted on the instructor wall and kept quiet because some things aren't meant for the public. That's what those comics were. Those comics, I fought for those comics. As a matter of fact, when I was at the schoolhouse as an instructor, brother, when I fought for those comics to stay because they made fun of an officer and an officer got butthurt over it, which is hilarious. There was a crow that, no kidding, they would just absolutely smash in the comics. And he got so upset, he said it was unprofessional. He wanted to stop comics. I was the guy that fought and told him he was being soft because those comics are supposed to stay internal. Those are for the team. Those are for the cadre. That's how you make connections with the cadre. When you make Yeah, it was public, Ender. That's why we're talking about it in public. I don't address behind the scenes stuff in public. There's something about me that you guys need to know. I will always return your same energy. Always. You send me a message and you want to talk to me and just ask me a question, man, I'm here for it. Let's have it. You send me something that looks sort of aggressive. Oh no, we're going to have aggressive. You want to handle stuff in public? We're going to hold court in the street. You want a private message? I try not to share my private messages with anybody ever, even my friends. I will not screenshot a conversation I've had with somebody else and send it to somebody else. I resist that as much as I possibly can. Peaches can 100% verify this. I won't share your contact information. I won't share a conversation that we've talked about. If anybody ever comes to you and they said, well, Aaron Love said this about you, you can look at them in the face and go, no, he did not. There is always a smaller chat group. Yeah, you're right, Peaches. But we're holding court in public because you guys decided to make this a public issue. And since we wanted, there should be, and here's the other kind of crazy thing too about social media is you can have these meme pages, and as long as the meme pages are anonymous, and by the way, there are some meme pages that continually do it the right way. Shelves, what's up? Continually do it the right way. Continually. They always do the right thing. Some of these guys is not who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about all mill meme pages. I'm talking about these anonymous meme pages that sit up here and will basically air out dirty laundry, things that the general public doesn't need to do so behind an anonymous account. Then they'll talk shit and they'll say some things. Those type of people, nah, we're good. We're good here. You want to hold court in public? We'll hold court in public. How much can you do from an anonymous page? Because I'm not here on my real name, homie. I'm out here on my real face. I ain't hard to find. I'm not trying to be somebody. I'm not trying to be anonymous. I made that decision a long time ago. People were like, I can't believe you put your own real information out on here. Yeah, because you have to accept some risk in order to be open, honest, vulnerable, transparent, and authentic and available. You have to. That's why we made the decision a long time ago. We are never going to do anything in the dark. We were going to hold court in public when it came time. So comics are a great part of our culture. They're amazing. They should never go away. The rules of the comics, by the way, cones are always weak and frail. Instructors are always jacked and tan. You're allowed to make fun of the instructors, but it better be funny. You make a joke at an instructor's expense, you better be ready to do some push-ups, because if it ain't funny, you're doing push-ups. Now, if it's funny, I'll laugh at it and I'll be like, all right, you got me. There have been plenty of times where somebody's made a joke at my expense as an instructor, and it just wasn't funny. It's not that it hurt my feelings. It just wasn't a good joke. So you're going to do push-ups for that. And this is also a funny thing that we that we used to do on my, and I do not recommend this, on my PJU team. Now let me grab this little bad boy here. Excuse me, Beret. This is the patch from our team that we made. You'll see it says no lefties, no cops, no crows. It was the worst team of all time. We had a rule that we would make fun of instructors openly, because at one point, like, we were the worst team of all times. I've told this story 100 times. We were the worst team of all time. We got smoked for literally everything that we did almost all the time. And we ended up hitting this sort of area where we were like, you know what? It's worth it. Don't care. We would make fun of instructors and we would drop ourselves. He's now retired. I won't say his name. There was an instructor that was a little bit chubby. He was carrying a little bit of extra weight. He got a little bit too used to being an instructor and forgot that he was a PJ and sort of put on some weight. We called him Kung Fu Panda, and we called it to his face. And we made the joke and just smoked ourselves. And he was like, I didn't even drop you. We're like, yeah, we know. If you want to do that, go ahead. But those cartoons are how you make the, and by the way, that guy was a great mentor of mine. That guy ended up retiring as a chief and made great impacts to the career field. He was awesome. And we talked about it later, and he was like, you guys were such dicks, but he remembered us. And that's how you make these things. You don't do it by going on the internet and airing out dirty laundry and putting your dumb opinion out for everybody to see, because you're not the only one seeing it. The Army is seeing it. The Navy is seeing it. The Marine Corps is seeing it. All these other dudes are like, I don't know what the Air Force is doing, but it looks like nobody likes it. You guys are astroturfing, making the career fields look bad, when all the career field was trying to do was give you the best possible training in the shortest amount of time and optimize the pipeline. That's the fact of the matter. And that's why we won't let it go. You guys don't know how many messages we've got from T3I developers and schoolhouse instructors and operators all the way up the chain to the highest heights that are thanking us for this episode, that are thanking us for saying this to you. And by the way, we've never done it. I even joked with Peaches and Trent. hey man, like I'm going to have to do a heel turn. Like this is going to have to be WWE for whoever it is that you guys think I am. And again, you see what you see on IG. You don't know me as a person. For whoever you think I am, we've never went hard at the people that listen to us and support us. We've never done that ever. This is the first time that we've ever sat you down and been like, okay, y'all, we need to re-baseline everything because Trent, Peaches, and I, we are senior NCOs. Sergeant means to serve. I would be doing you a disservice if I just laughed this off and went on. If I just laughed this off, it was like, it's kids with their funny stuff. Meh. They'll figure it out. I'm going to connect this to the culture. For a long time, people my age looked at people in college and we said, oh, these darn kids, boy, when they get out into the real world, reality's going to smack them in the face and then they're going to figure it out. And then all this dumb stuff isn't going to happen. No. Those people graduated college and got into your HR department and they got into political office and they got into local power and they got into business and they got into places where they could affect your life and they didn't figure it out. They took their dumb whack ideology and they made you adhere to it because we ignored it. We're like, oh, these kids will figure it out. So when we look at these pipeline students and we go, oh, well, they're making these memes and whatever else, when they get onto the teams, they're going to figure it out. No, you're going to bring that dumb attitude and that victim mentality to the teams, and we can't afford that. I'm not a gatekeeper by any means, but I will hold the line on this. And I will do it for everybody that's still out there. I will do it for every single person that is in the military, that doesn't have an IG account, that doesn't have a platform, that doesn't have a way to talk to you directly like we do. For every single one of those people that hits us up and can't say anything when you guys say this because they're under different rules than you are. I'm not. There are no strings on me, and I won't stand for it. You got people like Whiskey Mo, who's in the chat right now, that kills himself to run that Discord. And that is made from nothing. We have 1,500 people that sit there and talk to each other and get mentorship and reading recommendations and share experiences with one another. We have the Operator Training Summit. Go to operatortrainingsummit.com and check out how you can come see what I think is the right way forward. Vegas 2021 December. If you can come out, I'd love to have you. I'd sit down. I'll talk to you all day. And by the way, this is an open shot. Anybody that lives in Vegas, current, former operators, if you're in Vegas and you just want to come check it out, come on. Check in with me. Hit me up at the pool deck. Say hi. Because there is a right way and a wrong way to do things. And for all those people in the military that can't get on and say, this is so stupid. How dare you students say this? Because they think it. And I got the DMs to prove it. I got the receipts. I will not let you disrespect them. Basically, they have their hands tied behind their back and you're hitting them thinking you can actually beat them up. No, you can't. And I'm your boy. I am your accountability. Remember the scene in Tombstone where they're going to kill Maggie and they're going to kill Virgil and they're on the train and Wyatt shows up. He says, run, you cur. You tell him I'm coming. You tell him the law's coming and hell's coming with me. I was listening to that in the gym, getting super motivated this weekend. But just like Wyatt, my favorite American movie, Tombstone, Wyatt absolutely refused to let people hurt his friends that couldn't protect themselves. Well, everybody wants to be Doc Holliday in that movie, by the way, because Val Kilmer, R.I.P. Val Kilmer was like the best character in that movie. Nah, Wyatt was an oak. For those reasons, we will not tolerate the Zulu slander. I am your Huckleberry, Ender Wiggin. You were right. GB Mentality in the chat too. What's up, brother? Glad to see you. Glad you're here. If you guys aren't following GB Mentality, awesome dude. We've had him on. We've done lives with him. Go follow him. He's doing it the right way. That's why we have an entire network of people that we think are doing it the right way, and we keep those people close. And we keep those people, we make sure that those people come along with us. We'll always share his stuff. He shares our stuff. You know why? Because when you see somebody doing it the right way, you know. And you're like, that guy needs to be on the team. I'm on that guy's team. Because he's doing it the right way. Not a lot of questions in the chat. If you guys got questions that you guys want to talk about specifically about Zulu or anything else that's going on, Operator Training Summit, Guardian Grit, Taylor Starch, any of that stuff, hit me up. Man, happy to talk about it. I just wanted to get on here and give a little context and a little nuance. We've actually gotten zero. Peaches and I, this is the awesome thing about living close to your friend. Man, I had two little babies. We were at Peach's house last night. His gorgeous wife made me some shepherd's pie, which, by the way, delicious. We smashed that at home. It was so good. But we were sitting there talking and by the way, Vegas is awesome. You should move to Vegas. I was swimming with my son yesterday when we had this talk. Not a single negative message. Not one. The overwhelming majority of messages has been, you guys are right. The kids need to hear it from developers, from instructors, from operators, from guys that are out, from guys that have retired, from guys that care about these career fields. That isn't to aggrandize ourselves, and especially not me. I've been wrong a million times. I could still be wrong on the Zulu course. I could still be wrong. It could be a big fail. It really could. It could be everything that everybody's bemoaning it to be, right? I got it. I accept that. We're just going to have to go on. For the time of the context that it is right now, here we go. Here we go. All right, I'm going to hit up some of these questions. I'm going to start from where I can read. If you guys have another question, put it in the chat. Let me know. From Garrett. So will SWAS be a version of what it is now, or will continue, and then you would go into the Zulu as of right now? Great question. So Special Warfare Assessment Selection, that is going through a relook. Right now, the way that it is Special Warfare Assessment Selection has not changed, and the Zulu course started today. The course flow from whatever SWAS ends up looking like is going to be assessment and selection into the Zulu course. Now, what either one of those two courses look like is going to change. In the pipeline optimization and the briefs that we've gotten from right now, with the exception of PJ, because PJ has a little bit different, Special Warfare Assessment Selection, Zulu course, other associated skill courses, jump, free fall, seer, dunker, apprentice course out to the team that's supposed to take 1 year. Combat control, SR, TAC P. TAC P probably going to be, a year, yeah, but maybe even a little bit shorter because they got kind of less schools. PJs are the one outlier here because they got to do the med program. That's anywhere from 7 to 9 months, really. MP3. So PJs are still going to have 17, 19 months? So like 18 months, 18 to 20 month pipeline, depending on how fast they can get through MP3 and out. That's how the flow is supposed to work. Now, what Special Warfare Assessment Selection looks like, not sure. That's going to figure itself out, but that's going to be the pipeline flow. That's a great question from Peaches. Aaron, what about people that have trepidation about shipping out? How do they know if they're ready? You don't. I didn't know I was ready. And as a matter of fact, I wasn't ready 3 out of the 4 times I went. I went to Indoc 4 times, guys. I was on 4 separate teams, 3 Hell Nights. Okay. I don't know what to tell you. You're not going to be ready. When are you ready to have kids? When are you ready to be married? When are you ready to take that next step in your life? You have no clue. We have the IFT. We've put the numbers out for what we think you should be hitting on the IFT, but that doesn't mean you're ready to go. That means you're physically able to complete the requirements to get into the pipeline. That's what that means. I wasn't ready to go to the 321st STS. Peaches will tell you that. I wasn't ready to go. I wasn't ready to be a troop chief that wasn't even a team leader in Vegas. I wasn't ready to go on my first deployment as a team leader. I wasn't ready to take OPSUP. I wasn't ready to lead small teams. I wasn't ready to be the senior enlisted leader. I was the senior enlisted leader for the 2-2 in on my very last deployment. When I was 20 years in, by the way. I wasn't ready to take that deployment, but I had to, because that's what the nation requires. You're not going to be ready. You're never going to feel ready. I wasn't ready to have this second kid. I wasn't ready to have my first child, who's now 20 years old. I'm not ready for her to go to college. She's looking at East Coast law schools. I'm not ready for that. But we got to. It doesn't matter if you're ready or not. I wasn't ready on the first mission that we had to blow out and go do. And I was hoisted down on my very first mission. I was training in England. And then 12 hours later, I was on an HH-60 in the middle of the North Sea, hundreds of miles from land, being hoisted down from a moving helicopter onto a moving super tanker to somebody that was dying of appendicitis. I was not ready for that. What are you going to do? Quit? You say no? Pitts would go. You think William Pitsenbarger was ready to go into the Da Nang Valley with overwhelming force over a night where 400 people were killed. You think he was ready to shield dead people with his body and pass out ammunition and wave off the helicopter 10 times? You think he was ready to die? Pitts would go. You think John Chapman was ready? John Chapman was at the end of his career. Go read Alone at Dawn. Oh, they dropped it. Love doing it on live. Go read Alone at Dawn. Because you know what you'll find out about John Chapman? You'll find out that John Chapman was working a sweet desk job. And John Chapman didn't have to go on that deployment. And John Chapman didn't have to leave his kids, his young kids. John Chapman didn't have to go. He fought to get on that deployment. He fought to get on that helicopter. He fought to get on that mountain. He didn't have to. He wasn't ready. I don't care if you're not ready. Are you ready to do what's required? That's the real question. Do you possess the constitution to do anything that you need to do these jobs? That's the only ready you need to be. You make that decision every single day. I had a great jiu-jitsu coach. He was also a combatives instructor, probably one of the most trained individuals I've ever met in my entire life. And he said, and by the way, he was a tier 1 operator with more than 10 deployments. And he used to say, I never knew if I was ready to kill somebody. And unfortunately, the first time I was presented with that fact, he was like, I did. And I had to think about it afterwards. He was like, the only reason why I was able to act in that moment is because every single time in training before this, I had already made the decision. I had already trained to be ready to act in the moment because I never knew if I was going to be ready. So the only thing that I could do is train and work really hard. Do you possess the constitution to do what's necessary to do the job? That's all the ready that you need to be. There we go. At 2 Geek, and how many flutter kicks should I do? More. Just gamble it. Will there be another OTS course after December? Yeah, go to operatortrainingsummit.com, operatortrainingsummit.com, and check it out. We're going to have the full schedule up there. We're going to try to do, we've basically aligned them with ship dates so that we get you the most appropriate information and we get you that good gouge as close as we can to your ship dates. That's how we put it out there. Yes, there's going to be one afterwards. We're looking at all over the country. We're even looking at internationally. We started having talks with our good friend Sam Sheriff out in the UK. So that one's coming up. Your boys, Mr. International, getting those passports ready to go. Mr. World Traveler, Mr. 305, Mr. Worldwide, Dale. We're trying to get out there. Go check it out. Let's go. I'm trying to look at other questions here. If you guys have questions, throw them in the chat. We got a podcast dog. Hey, Miss. Sorry, everybody. Gonna have to figure this one out. Oh, they might have figured it out. She's gonna be great. She's got a good bark though. That's what you get with Kane. I'm going for TAC P. This is from Zeke Crowley. I'm going for TAC P. Should I prepare for selection with swimming, or should I mainly focus on rucking, running, and other stuff? So right now, swimming is not a part of the. So when we talk about swimming, we're either talking about surface swimming or subsurface swimming. They've got subsurface swimming blocks that are going to be at the end of Zulu. TAC P guys are going to be involved in that. The water con stuff for TAC P guys, I'd probably say not as much. You're not going to be expected to go to dive school unless something drastically changes here in the near future. I'd say you need to be able to swim. You need to be able to, especially when you look at the OFT, TAC Ps have to swim for the OFT, right? So you're going to swim for TAC P. How much do you need to do the water confidence stuff? I'd probably say it's heavier on the surface swimming. Being a really good finner, being a really good surface swimmer, I'd say is more important than the water confidence stuff. But I'm not a TAC P guy. What's up, Jenks? So we'd have to figure out exactly what that means. And again, we're going to look at the Zulu course. The Zulu course may or may not change. It may or may not be completely different. So for TAC P, I'd say surface swimming, probably a lot more. From Garrett, are you guys going to SHOT Show this coming year? Love to talk in person. Weird. Kidding. SHOT Show is what SHOT Show is, man. You know, oh man, this dog. You hate it. You hate to see it. You wish it wasn't so, but it is. Let me fix it. Give me a pause here. I wasn't ready for that dog to bark. You think I was ready to leave you guys with 30 seconds of dead air? God, I missed all of you so bad. Miss, go to your spot. Go lay down. Podcast dog. Sorry, everybody. I don't even remember what I was talking about. It hurts. Oh, SHOT Show. SHOT Show is SHOT Show, bro. It's so wacky. Like, I love it, but it's a lot. It really is a lot. We'll be around. We're always here. I don't know how much of a presence we're going to have at SHOT Show. We've done it before. We'll talk about it. I'll say this, hit us up beforehand. Jay Daly, are all career fields heading towards going to dive school? Seems a large focus even for TAC Ps. I mean, I would defer to the TAC P guy. Why would a TAC P go to dive school? That doesn't make any sense. Why do you think TAC P is heading towards going to dive school? That doesn't make any sense. There's no requirement for it. Nobody's asking TAC P to be dive qualified. The only people that are asking TAC P to be dive qualified are TAC P guys because they want to do different stuff because they don't like being who they are. Sorry. Might have to fly to London for it. Sweet. Oh yeah. Peaches is laughing in the background. I was like, what are we talking about? Let's see. I would hop on a flight tomorrow. Whiskey Mo, we're good there. FDS, a quote that I was able to abide by. I can't and people will die or I'll do it anyways and bring them home. It was a phrase I had to remember while paying for a mistake that I made. Changed my mindset. Awesome. Cool. Okay. Podcast dog interruption aside. Sorry about that. She's a working dog. She's a protection dog. If anything happens in the house, that's what you hear. I like to call her layer 2, right? My security system, that's layer 1. My dog, this 100-pound savage that I have here. By the way, not good around other dogs, not great around people. And my wife is currently like, she's constantly like, well, I don't know. I want her to be okay around people. I don't. You know who she's even more protective over than just like the house and general stuff? If my son and my wife are somewhere, that dog is a menace. You are not getting close to either one of those. I'm not going to tell her she's wrong. She's great. But anyway, sorry for the barking. And I'm sorry for the little thing. Maybe I'll ask Peaches to take that out in post. That's what you say in the game. Peaches, if you got anything else for me, just tell me what you want me to talk about here in my headphones. We'll go from there. From Trick Center, thoughts on friend forfeiting VA disability to go Air Force Special Warfare because he believes he has what it takes. Everybody's got to make their own decisions, man. Yeah, that's wild. Forfeiting. I don't know how you forfeit your disability. I got a rating. I don't know how I'd be like, no, your rating is 0, so I can go back to whatever. That's a wacky scenario. Good for him. That's tight. Not a question, more of a suggestion from 2Geek. Could you guys get a National Guard special operator on to explain the main difference between the Guard and active duty in special operations? We already have, but yes, we will get them on again. For everybody coming out to Vegas, one of my best friends in the entire world, he is a chief master sergeant. He is a Guard and Reserve PJ. He moved that way after his active duty career. He's getting sort of close to retirement because I was a little bit older than him. But he's going to be there to talk about Guard and Reserve stuff. We've also got a TAC P guy, soft TAC P guy that's going to show up. We also have he's a war hero. I'm not going to say who it is. I'm going to say there's very few people that got the award that he got and lived afterwards, especially in the United States Air Force. And he's here. It's going to be great. He's going to come down. He's going to talk to you guys too. At Huddleberg, yeah, fur missiles are great. Peaches. I wonder who that PJ could be. Huddleberg, if someone graduates A&S and gets selected, but was selected for a job that wasn't their first or second choice, how realistic is a retrain to PJ after a couple years? So let me look at this. If someone graduates A&S and gets selected for a job that wasn't their first or second choice, so you're telling me you get your third choice here. How realistic is it to retrain to PJ after a couple of years? It's realistic. It just happens so few and far between, right? The idea that you would get selected to be, let's say you get selected to be a combat control. You wanted to be a PJ and you got selected for combat control and not PJ. The likelihood that you'd go through the entire combat control pipeline, get certified, get qualified, get to your units, get your JTAC qual, possibly get a deployment, and then look at everybody and go, yeah, but I really wanted to be a PJ, and then cross-train over. It's happened. I actually had students that were combat controllers beforehand. So, I mean, is it likely? No. Is it realistic? Yeah, because it's happened before. Would you want to? That's a whole other question. A lot of times, the only changing, you don't really change beret color, you just change what you wear on the beret. So a lot of times guys will go from enlisted to officer, and that's what I mean. But you stay in the same career field because you spent If you spend a year of your life training in dev and then 2 years in the pipeline and then another year and a half to get qualified to have the funny hat of whatever color it is that you have on your head, the likelihood of you going, no, I'm going to go do it. Now, man, shout out to my boy FR. There are people out there that have actually possessed all 4 berets. No kid, and from the enlisted and the officer side. That has happened, but that's not realistic. It's like saying, like, how realistic is it to be a PJ and then, look at RJ Casey. How realistic is it to be an 18 Delta and then a PA and then a PJ and then a Crow? Go lay down. Go to your spot, podcast dog. Hey, go to your place. I'm going. Oh, yeah, right? Good God, man. Hassan Piker. Peaches was just in my ear telling me don't pull a Hassan Piker and shock his dog on people. Hassan Piker is the world's bottom of the barrel for people. But is it realistic? Not necessarily. However, you can do it. Okay. I'll say buyer beware. You're going to go through another pipeline. It's not like there used to be this time where you'd be like, oh, I'm a controller. I'm going to be a PJ now. There were a couple, I can't remember. I'm blanking on the guy that was very in our timeline, like 2002, 2003. There was a guy that like was a controller and then went over to be a PJ. They used to do this thing where they were like, okay, cool. Yeah, you're just a PJ now. Awesome. They don't do that anymore, homie. If you want to go from combat control to pararescue, you're going to go back through the portions of the pararescue pipeline, meaning paramedic, the apprentice course, and you're going to be a student. So imagine going through as a vetted special operator back through the pipeline as a student. That's what you're going to do. Because I don't care. If you're trying to be a PJ, the second that you sign those papers and you get into the pipeline, I don't care that you're a combat controller. I don't care that you're a Navy SEAL. I don't care that you're a Marine Force Recon. We have standards. Can you meet our standard? Because now you're coming into the pararescue career field. I think that's enough on that. Gotcha. I'm missing this question, but it was like, hey, what's the animosity between prior service guys and people that come in? I mean, yeah, but it's not real. I would have to say that it's fake and something else. There's like the guys that went through right away, like there's always, and it's more of a pipeline thing than it is anybody else. Nobody really does this in the career field. Old guys did it every once in a while. They'd say that they were a pure blood, that they were a thoroughbred. They got in, came in to do the job, got qualified to do the job, never did another job. I was a cross trainee. Cross trainees are at a little bit of a disadvantage. Number one, from time, and then number two, from rank. Like for me, graduating the pipeline is an E5, getting E6. When I was here in Vegas, had one assignment, got E6, got E7, the next assignment out of that. You're timing yourself out of the team pretty frequently or pretty quickly there. So the animosity between those two people, it's not real. It's fake. Oh, well, I've known, some cross trainees. Ivan Ruiz was a cross trainee, I believe. The guys that were on Operation Neptune Spear, like the PJ team leader on that mission was a cross trainee, did just fine. So I like everything else. I think you guys see it from the outside in, or you hear about these things like, oh, controllers and PJs really hate each other. No, they don't. We just talk crap about one another. PJ, people that came in right away, cross trainees, and people that came in right away, or prior service airmen, especially from other services. Okay. Some of those dudes are great. Some of those dudes aren't great. It just comes down to each one of them. Let's see, trying to clear up these questions here. When you talk about day one quitters, this is from FDS. Do you include those who got medically DQ'd from all fields except TAC P? Or is it one of those things where you believe you better be good with all 4 jobs? I have no idea what that question means. When we were talking about day one quitters, basically the thing that we were alerted to is that people are entering the development program. Like they go to the recruiter and they go, I want to do, I'm just going to use any job. This is not a specific example. I want to be a drone operator. I can't. How about an enlisted job? I want to be, I don't know, a med tech. And the recruiter goes, okay, tight, but the medical jobs, they're stacked, man. I can't get you out for a year and a half. The thing that's happening is that the people that are there, and the really weird rumor about this is that the recruiters are advising them to do this. Basically what they're doing is they're going, oh, it's a year and a half for me to get this medical job. Okay, well, what if I signed up for SEER and then I went through the program? You can get me out in 6 months. Okay. But then when I quit SEER, what happens? And the recruiter goes, well, they're going to give you a dream sheet and you get to fill that job out, and maybe you'll get that job anyway, and you'll be there 6 months earlier. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about people showing up to Chapman Air Force Base with no intention of going through the pipeline. They just got into the Air Force the quickest. They had an ASVAB score. Like, and by the way, they had their ASVAB score. They had their fitness was good enough that they could do it. And then they get down and quit right away, knowing that they're going to go do another job. They never had the intention of going into the Air Force Special Warfare training pipeline. That's what we're talking about with day one quitters. Let's go. At what point? Here we go. Cato Lawson, and we're getting to the end here. So if you guys got something, throw it in the chat. Cato Lawson, at what point fitness-wise would you recommend attending the recruiter-hosted development groups after passing a self-hosted IFT or pass? I don't want to waste anybody's time. I'd say go. I'd say go right away. I don't care what fitness level you are. If you think you want to go, I would go get experience with it. Go to the development. Go, you don't have to pay, you don't even have to be passing an IFT. I don't care if you go to the IFT and you get like fail every event. I don't care. That's valuable. You should go there because you're learning from the people that actually know what they're doing, and they can help you in your training after that. So people ask us this question. They're like, well, I don't want to waste anybody's time. You're not. When you train on your own and you think you're doing well, you're wasting your own time. So I would go to a professional like that development group. Shout out to Connor Matthews, T3I developer. I guarantee if you went to Connor Matthews and you went to one of his development programs, he'd be able to tell you, this sucks, this is good, continue, don't continue, whatever. And you would have that input, and then you can take that and use it in your training so that you're not wasting your time. The thing that we talk about at the OTS all the time, train specifically, meaning train only what you're going to be evaluated on in the 5 meter target. I don't care what your clean and jerk is. I clean and jerk 315. Well, you can't hold your breath for 45 seconds, so who cares? Okay. The IFT is running, calisthenics, and water. That's it. That's what you should be training for specifically. And then we train efficiently, meaning we spend every second of our time doing the things that get us the most benefit for those specific training items. If you don't go somewhere that can give you the guidance to tell you you're doing things right, you're doing things wrong, or how to make things better, then you don't know. So I would say don't wait. I don't care if you're failing. I don't care if you can't run a mile. I don't care. Go to the development program. That's why they're there. And you can meet people and you can help. Gatuk, is SWIC still after basic? Nope. Brother, you're about 24 months late. SWIC hasn't been a thing since like 2023. There is no prep. Special Warfare Candidate course is what SWIC is. Nope. You out. You out. So, and then where is Zulu? Zulu happens after assessment selection. 2 Geekers. Aaron, ever do any contracting work with forward observations? Nope. I've never done any contract work. Nope. First of all, I wouldn't make it. I wouldn't be picked up. Second of all, I'd be terrible on the team. Third of all, I'd probably fail in a tactical scenario and cost people their lives. So contracting people have never picked me up. There's great guys out there that love contracting, never done it. There you go. Michael Robinson, is Crow Phase 2 all the same for the most part with the pipeline changes logistically? Crow Phase 2 is unaffected as far as I know. We'll try to get, I'll hit up JMac and ask him who's running the Crow Phase 2 and exactly what's going on. Crow Phase 2 would happen before everything. Crow Phase 2 happened. This is, if you're talking about like phases, Crow Phase 2 and then the AFSOC equivalent, the Phase 1, Phase 2 process for special warfare officers in AFSOC is before everything, is before A&S. So that would be front loaded at the beginning. As far as I know, there are no changes. I know AFSOC is going through different changes with IFAM and the way that they do their Phase 1, Phase 2 selection program. We'll get some better fidelity on that. I'm honestly not smart enough to talk in depth on that one right this second, especially live. So we'll get some, I'll write that little note and we'll get some better answers on that for you. But that's all, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I know, there's no changes to Phase 1, Phase 2. And that happens before. You have to get picked up at Phase 1, Phase 2. And this is typically for the officer counterparts, special warfare officer. So special tactics officer, combat rescue officer, TACPO. You go through Phase 1, Phase 2, and then you're allowed to go to assessment selection and the pipeline to follow. So no changes there. Couple more. Let's see. John Pierre. Aaron, are there any different assignments that take you guys outside of ACC or STS that you can talk about? Or aside from being an instructor, are there any other commands that ask for you guys? Yeah, as many, too many, as a matter of fact. I mean, there's, we had TJ Gunnell on. TJ was working. I'm blanking on the name of the program. Peaches, if you got this one, say it in my ear so I sound smart. But, you have the, man, there's defense attaché appointments. There are people that work on Capitol Hill that actually advise some of these committees on stuff. There are one-off assignments. Like, there's a Crow that's actually in charge of SEER School. Like there's a Crow, like Crows, they're the officers that actually go up there. So that's outside of STS, outside of ACC, outside of the normal stuff. You can always go to one of the tier 1 units. So that's kind of outside the norm. But there's a bunch of different one-off that guys have gotten. You can go be an instructor at some of the other schools, like you mentioned, but there's a bunch of one-off assignments that are really interesting. And depending on kind of what lane you get yourself into, once you get into the, I'm trying to think how to say this without getting us canceled for me putting out OPSEC. Once you get into a certain classification of mission sets, let's say that they're all inside of access. Once you get into those mission sets, the world is your oyster. You can go do a very wide swath of interesting things with a bunch of the alphabet boys and a bunch of those other folks. So that's pretty interesting there. Let's see. Legislative liaison for Chief Gunnell. Thank you, Whiskey Mo. You're correct. You're correct. Legislative liaison. So that's, I mean, he was a chief. He was doing some other stuff, and they actually pulled him up to the Capitol to go be a legislative liaison. That's a great one. Thanks, bud. Sam Wellingham, USAF STTS took the Stowe IFAM info off their website recently. Will there be more for FY26? I'm just learning this information now. We'll figure it out. Aaron, do you know if there are going to be any changes for aft spec war contracts? Do me a favor, Ferns. Let me know what that means. I don't know what that means. Are there going to be changes to contract? I'm not in the contract award sort of thing. I'm not privy to those conversations. So if you can give me some clarification, I'll let you know. From Dom, this is a good question. Is PJU going to change at all? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So with the Zulu course, if they're already teaching weapons, tactics, TCCC, all these other things, mission planning, right? They're not going to teach those again at PJU. Those blocks are going to be removed. And this is the same for all apprentice courses. If we're teaching these skills earlier, the point is not to repeat it, to be efficient and to optimize the pipeline. Those blocks are coming out of those apprentice courses. We talked about it in the episode. So those courses are going to come out. Those blocks of instruction are going to come out of those apprentice courses, and you'll get them done. You'll only do them one time. So yeah, PJU is going to change. I can't verify this because I don't know what the conversations are like inside of the four walls down in Albuquerque, New Mexico. But if it was me as an instructor, what I would be doing along with taking those blocks out is I would look at, okay, well, if they've already gotten the basics and they already know these things, just like we talked about in the episode, how do we build on that? So I think PJU actually might change for the better. It might get more complex. It might get more, you might have more of a focus on advanced skills because you've already got the basic skills out of the way, right? So PJU is going to change. If I were king for a day and I was at Kirtland, I'd be looking at PJU, the pararescue, combat rescue, pararescue apprentice course. I would be looking at that course load, and I'd be thinking about how it is that if we don't have to teach basics anymore, then let's step it up and let's change these things that are inside of here to be one level up from there. That's what I would be doing. I assume that the professionals down at the 351st are doing the same thing. And across the enterprise, I assume that CCS, PJU, TACP Schoolhouse, TACP Apprentice Course, I believe that they're probably all doing the same thing. Can't say for sure, but that's what I would do. Nice. Sam Wellingham, thanks for getting us to U of A. Appreciate that. Daniel Horn, just curious, do you think people are staying in military longer, shorter these days, or has it not changed so much? I can't imagine many go through the pipeline just to do 6 years. Man, that's so personality dependent. I had folks that one of my young troops. I was in the pipeline with him for a long time. Like a lot of my pipeline was spent with this guy, a very young dude. Got in, had a bad first assignment, decided to punch after 6. Or actually it was after 4. Got out after his 4-year, and but by the way, most of that was spent in the pipeline. Got out after his 4-year, but then he ended up getting back in. He went guard and reserve. It's just a really personal opinion. Some guys get into it and they're like, I'm going to do this for one assignment and that's it, and spend a career. And some guys, it's the inverse. Some guys are like, oh, I'm going to get in this for a career. They kind of catch wacky assignments, looking at you, Cannon, and then they don't end up going past one assignment. It's your results may vary for how long it is that you want to stay in. So Dom, so that would streamline PJU and make less training, not in training days, go down as well, which would give us more in-depth training and add some more intense simulation training. A lot of times I'll explain something to my wife, and what happens is that she will not get it, and I'll give her a good answer. And then we'll talk, and then she'll do exactly what you just did. And she'll go, oh, so what you're saying is, and then she'll say the answer herself that I just said. And then she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, I figured it out. Dom, brother. If we got rid of blocks, would that not streamline PJU? If we stepped up the skill events, would that not make you get more in-depth training? I feel like you could have just listened the first time. Okay. Let's go. Miko, Operator Training Summits. Guys, if you have questions, please go to operatortrainingsummit.com. All your questions are there. Aaron, can I get a roll tide? Absolutely not. Ohio State's on a generational run. They just allowed their first half touchdown to Penn State this weekend. Alabama has never done that. I seem to remember beating Alabama in the very first college playoff. Is that correct? Oh, yeah, that was our natty. Oh, and then we had a natty last year. And then we have a better team this year with the presumptive Heisman Trophy candidate, Julian Saying, throwing to the best 2 college receivers in the game, wide receiver university. You can absolutely not get a roll tide. You can get a scoreboard, and you can go look at the rankings, and you can see where Ohio State is, and then you can see where Alabama is. Go Buckeyes. We are the Ohio State University. I think that's about it. I think that is about it. Aaron, is it true that EOD people can get into an STS? Nope. I mean, they can come into the building occasionally. There are one-off. So, all joking aside, and we're gonna wrap it up here really quickly. So EOD folks, there are I'm talking, when I say a minimum, I'm talking about less than a handful of slots that are available at one STS. One. That's it. And it's one that you need another selection for. Okay. EOD, I understand that EOD is under the umbrella, and the messaging is sort of in a gray area here. When they include EOD and SEER inside of the AFSPEC War umbrella, you guys aren't in that bucket. SEER guys and gals can get assigned to ACC and to STS. EOD, there are no EOD people that are permanently assigned to rescue, as far as I know, or Guard and Reserve, or STSs, except for one. But that's long in the tooth. Like that is whatever. If you want to work at an STS, be a PJ, be a combat controller, be a TAC-P, or be an SR. Period. There's no guarantee if you go SEER or if you go EOD. If your goal is to work in an STS, go to one of the AFSPEC War career fields. If your goal is to be an EOD or a SEER guy, then go to an EOD or a SEER guy and then take what the Air Force gives you as far as assignments. Okay, there we go. I think that's Gatuk. Yeah, to clarify something. SWO is completely gone. Yes, it's only guaranteed contracts now. We moved away from SWO. Okay, done. Let's go international. Last couple here. Do you know, by chance, know of anyone who had heat stroke and had a difficult time training back to the standards? Heat stroke is fake. Just like jiu-jitsu is fake. You can just stand up. You don't have to roll around on the ground with people. Heat stroke is fake. It's a crutch. It's attention-seeking behavior. I'm kidding. No, so here's the thing about heat stroke, both heat and cold, right? Hypothermia, hyperthermia, heat stroke, and being cold. Dude, sometimes you're just prone to it. Sometimes people just get cold. Sometimes people just overheat. It's just a thing. Sometimes it's just your physiology, right? You have to find ways to mitigate that, whether it's hydration or find ways to cool yourself down. But unfortunately, just like anything else, there are extremes. There are some people that get cold and their cognition goes down to such a point where the second that they get cold, they're unable to continue and they fail events because they're cold. That's one of the contributing factors to their cognition and what it is that they're doing. Same thing with heat stroke. Sometimes you can get heat stroke. It's not like if you get heat stroke once, you're more prone to getting it again. The fact that you got heat stroke in the first hand means that you have a temperature regulatory problem with your body that makes you more susceptible to heat and or cold than your other counterparts in your age striated group across age and weight. So that to say, some people just overheat. Right. When we're talking about really getting heat stroke, and by the way, heat stroke is like a deadly condition. If I have a patient that has heat stroke, I'm freaked out. If somebody has heat stress, which is probably what you're talking about, like they heat stress, heat cat out for the day. Yeah, it's totally fine. Sometimes you just need water, a cool environment, and a reset. And typically you're good there. Right. So there you go. So there we go with the new Zulu Course, Ender. What would you say is the evolution that has a high potential for producing higher quality operators without unintentionally burning out high performing teams? That's a word salad, dude. I don't even know what you mean. What would you say is the evolution that has a high potential for producing higher quality operators without unintentionally burning out high performing teams? There are no teams in the pipeline. It's an individually evaluated event. For as much as people want to tell you about teamwork, if you do 70 push-ups and your teammate does 75 and passing is 72 push-ups, he can't give you 3 push-ups. It's not a team event. I don't know what high performing teams in the pipeline is a wild statement. You are begging the question there, assuming that there are teams that perform at a high level in the pipeline. Y'all are students. OHIO. I think we're good there. Is passing out the pool an immediate failure? Not the first time. Repeated times? Yes. Ender Wigan. Either you get rhabdo in the pipeline or you quit too early. Rhabdo's a crutch. All right. I think that's about it. Rhabdo's attention-seeking behavior. That's a good place to end it. I think that's it. So, hey, I want to say thanks to everybody. We're going to do a little bit more of these. I got a little bit more of a schedule, a couple more lives out here. We'll make sure that this one lives on the channel to get you all those questions answered. If you have any questions, hit us up. Go over to onesready.com. Hit the link tree. You can find everything that we're doing. Go to operatortrainingsummit.com. That's where you can find all the in-person training events. The next one coming up, December 2021 here in Vegas, with more to follow. If you're in the Vegas area and you want to come check it out, come on, man. We're an open book. Every operator, every single person that just wants to come check it out, have a conversation with us, we're here for it. You let us know. You come out. But we would love for you to attend and to get this information. We truly care about it. The instructor staff, from Taylor Starch to Chris Tomez, myself, Trent, Peaches, all of our guest instructors, the people that we bring down, Chase Mead, all these people that we bring down that are good dudes that help us, that do this, they care about you. They care about you and they want you to succeed. We just don't like it when you talk crap about our friends or a course you haven't been to. That feels like a good place to end it. Appreciate you guys. We will see you next time. We out here.